Hello, my name is Takaya Blaney, and I am 13 years old, from the Sliaman Nation. My ancestral name is Jagajimu, which was given to me by my Kukpa, my grandfather. I am a voice for my people, and that is the name that I've been given, Jagajimu. As an environmentalist, as an activist, and as a compassionate person, an Indigenous child who has witnessed the devastating aftermath of residential and boarding schools, of colonization, the devastating aftermath of the land degradation and the exploitation to our Mother Earth. I have fought for not only a sustainable future, defended for not only a sustainable future, but I have been working to create, establish, and design a future at all for my generation, for the next generation, which is the bottom line of my message. Trying to create a future for not only my generation, but for the many generations of animals and plants, and creating a future for Indigenous cultures, and making sure that intercultural relationships, languages, ways of life can thrive, and those who practice them can be able to practice them completely without any kind of limitations that limit who they are, their identity, their thoughts, their actions. What I try and look for, mainly when I'm trying to inspire a level of change, a level of action, as I look at education, not only in a cultural sense of incorporating traditional and spiritual, ceremonial messages, protocols, and morals into our daily lives, and especially doing so as an Indigenous person, because these morals, our culture, our interpretations, our languages are as much a part of our identity and ourselves, how we breathe in, how we breathe out, how we are a part of our land when we breathe in and when we breathe out. Those things are as much a part of us as an arm or a leg. And so it's good to be educated as an Indigenous child, as an Indigenous adult, and be able to go from student to teacher when you are taught these traditions. But it's also good to be taught in a legal sense when it comes to our rights. It's good to be taught the power of certain things such as names, to be taught the rights to our self-determination, our rights to our education, our rights to how we can carry ourselves as Indigenous peoples, and to be able to identify what is wrong, not only on a moral level but on a legal level. And it's important to be taught these cultural teachings and legal teachings, especially these teachings should be told to the Indigenous youth, because in this time especially, many Indigenous people, many governments and corporations with shared agendas, they're expecting a revolution. They're expecting something to happen. They're expecting a movement that's not only going to be people outside with rallies and signs, but actual action, actual worldwide global action that will go around the earth, and a rising of Indigenous people. We're expecting it. These governments are expecting it. We're expecting our own civil rights movement. And so things will only intensify, and that's really the truth. I was taught by an elder in Haida Gwaii, Arnie Nagy, that to turn the world around, we have to turn it upside down. And when we turn that world upside down, we are going to shake and shake and shake. And so all of these people, places, and things evils who should not be on this earth will fall because they are not rooted into their ancestors, into their language, into their traditions. They are without respect. These people will fall. But those who are strong enough, those who have hands to hold, those who have love in their hearts, and that is their main drive for what they do and who they protect because of that love. Not only who they protect, but what they protect. Some protecting and restoring that sanctity of the unborn, protecting the land, the tree people, the frog people, all of these different people on our earth. We will be the ones who remain, those who have love in our hearts, but before we can turn that world right side up and look towards the future with pride and not grief and anxiety, before we look to that future with love in our hearts, the world has to be turned upside down first. And so we're expecting things to intensify. So we need to educate the children. We need to educate the children culturally from the point of the baby having a soft spot on its head. We need to be teaching the language, and we need to understand the transformative process from being a student to being a teacher, because that's the entire point of teaching. Because when you are a student, you learn and you learn and you learn and you learn, and you have these teachings, this energy of wisdom and knowledge that has been cycled through many, many generations and many different cultures and refined to a point where it has gotten to you, and it is your responsibility as that student to transform into that teacher. And so we need to be able to teach the children to be proud of their ancestry, to be proud of their ancestors' legacy, to be able to understand what it is drinking water is, what it is breathing air is, what it is to be a student, what it is to be a teacher. We need to teach the children that it's not only important to continue these traditions because of keeping alive our way of life, but it's important to our existence as people with careers, with jobs, or going to university. My dad, he was telling me this. He was saying that, these children, they might think that there's a certain amount of peer pressure involved with becoming someone who's more traditional and more in touch with their way of life. And to those who are discriminated against because they feel strongly about their ancestors, those people, they're going to be your bosses one day because they understand and they have accepted their identity. And so I try and teach education, and not as a teacher, but as a student who is learning, who is trying to become a teacher. And I haven't learned much, but what I have learned I can teach. And I have understood that, it's essential that when you know something, especially a piece of information that you believe should resonate in the minds of others, so they know how to make certain decisions when it comes to legal processes or sharing your experience with certain troubles or enemies that will soon that these people will soon face. It's good that we share our experiences. It's good that we share our knowledge. So that's what I do, but I also try and look towards healing in that aspect of activism. I've always believed that there's two types of activists. There's the activists who are the so-called warriors, who are on the front lines, who are being the strong ones, who are fighting, or not fighting, but defending for the land. But there's also the other type of activism, which is the healing. These people are our spokespersons, our activists, our speakers, our voices for our ancestors and for the unborn, when they go out and defend our territories and ourselves, everyone in the nation. The territory that we're trying to protect from, for example, an industrial development, it's not exactly pristine to begin with. And, the point is we have to be able to heal. And we have to look at our goals. We have to look at, we want to be able to heal. We want to be able to come together. We want to be able to come together in ceremony. And so to do so, the entire process of getting there should be in a healing way. And as an activist, I try and look at the concept of creating sanctuaries. I try and look at certain concepts of education and thinking of what is it that we want to achieve and how can we get there, implementing the procedures that we wish to see implemented on a daily basis. And so, it's important as an Indigenous person or a non-Indigenous person that we are able to come together in unity once we have this education and once we understand what it is we're supposed to do. Once we understand what it is, not only what are we against, but also what is it we are for. And it's good that we come together in unity. And that's really the bottom line. It seems that when you have people in the environmentalist and activist world, they get to a certain point in their lives, and they've got a certain status to them where they create their own organization with their own short-term specific goals that kind of restricting to allowing connection between other organizations to join together in a greater mass for a greater effect in change. And so here you have these environmentalists all over the world with their own kingdoms. And we need to leave that at the door if we really want to inspire change. We need to be able to connect in this circle. We need to be able to have actions that are not only holding up the signs, but sitting down and doing the ceremonies. And doing so in a way where instead of making statements on paper and holding it up in the air, we'll be making statements through our prayers. We'll be making statements through our thoughts and through the teachings that we pass on to each other. My grandfather, my kukpa, as I call him in my slime and traditional language, he taught me that you have a voice, Takaya, be heard. You have a voice, so speak for those who have no voice. You have a gift, you have a passion. So every person who has been given a gift, who has been given a passion, something that they love to do, and just simplifying it to something that they love to do, you have to be able to share that. Because we are given these gifts for a reason. And it's our responsibility to share that. And so we all have a responsibility to this earth and to each other. And we have to be able to work together. It's also when I talk about teaching the youth, we have to be able to teach the basics. We have to be able to teach them how to love certain things in our territory, in our ceremonies, in our culture, and the way that our language is. There's many people I speak, and then they ask me, how do I get my child to care as much as you do? And my answer is that you don't have to hold up a sign. You don't have to bring them to the marches. You don't have to hand them a megaphone. You just have to get them out into nature. You just have to get them out to breathe the air and breathe that in a healing way and have that air go through their mouth, through their lungs, and then have them breathe out and have them become a part of the land in that way. And that is how we are all a part of the land. They have to understand how to love drinking the water, how to love breathing the air, how to love being a part of this land, an integral part of this land, not as with a position and a responsibility to be the caretakers and to be the stewards. Because in the end, we will only conserve what we understand, and understand what we love, and love what we are taught. And we need to be taught, because things are only going to get worse, and that's for the better. So, we need to be taught, and that's really my work as an activist. And not only an activist, but trying to spread a healing message. Thank you.